What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I just left Best Buy. I got Canon battery, Canon charger for the Canon camera, GoPro mount, SD card readers and stuff. So I'm gonna really try to get back into this. We're gonna go to the shop right now. I got a new drift car. I haven't driven it. The radio doesn't work. It needs some parts before the season starts, which is in literally a month and a half. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna get the radio fixed. I don't have any of the parts yet, but we're gonna try to do this again. I don't know if any of you have watched my previous video. I had a truck and a drift car, and that was it. So I sold the truck. I got back into a Subaru, back into the Subaru game. Finally got an STI. I've never actually had an STI. It's always been a WRX, so that feels good. 2018. Gonna make some videos on that soon. But yeah, today's focus is gonna be going to the shop, fixing the radio, cleaning up the interior, getting a solid base to start the parts installation process before the season starts. I do have a tow rig. I got a trade-in GL 550 Mercedes for my work for like an insane deal. So got that, and yeah, we're gonna try to do this. I'm gonna try to stay consistent through the journey of this season, and we'll see how it goes. All right, I'll catch you guys at the shop. What's this channel without some flat foot shifting, right? So let's go. As far as this car goes, it's a Cobb SF intake per usual, and it has a R400 catback, access port, and it is tuned by Jay Perry in Rhode Island. That is it. It is nowhere near how my last one was. It does pretty good for an intake and a fucking catback. Oh man, I love Subarus, bro. One thing I'll definitely say about the Subaru world is anything 15 and up is just way nicer. Like I've had a bunch of like bug eyes, blob eyes. I had a hawk eye, and then I had my 12 WRX. And like once the 15s came in, like I know some people don't like it because they look like, you know, a little generic, which like I can see it, but if you get the STI with like the gloss black trim, which I think is 18 plus, and you know, like the white gauges and like the gloss black door trims and the suede and stuff, like it's a nice car, dude. Like even for just like driving around every day, like I sold the 2012 WRX, and I actually had an F80 M3 at one point, and like, don't get me wrong, it's a great car, like unbelievable, but like it's wicked expensive, and like it's not raw feeling, which is what I typically go for, and this is like the perfect balance of like, it still keeps that raw like Subaru engagement feeling, but like it's nice. Like there's suede on the seats, and there's leather on the center console, and there's gloss black, piano black trim everywhere, and like it just feels like modern and nice and like I guess luxurious in a way, if you want to call it that, but it's still like you can flat foot shift it, and you feel the transmission, you feel the gears, and it has heavy hydraulic, like, you know, steering, and the input is there, and I don't know, I just love this car, man. It's like my other one, but better. It's just not as fast yet. We'll talk about that maybe later, maybe in another video. I don't know. Here we are at the shop. There she is, dude. It's a 2009 370Z. It's got some stuff. Nothing really drift related, but looks pretty good. So a little background. My 350Z was a DE 2003. It had a GK Tech bolt-on angle kit. Didn't even have the lower control arms. It had a cage, solid mounts, adjustable rear arms, bucket seats, harnesses, steering wheel, just like the basic stuff. But as far as like drift related goes, I would say it was more like, I mean, it had the cage, it had a little angle, had a welded diff. That's really it. I mean, and it had the adjustable arms in the back, but other than the cage, I mean, it was really just a pretty basic build, which is why I was kind of okay trading it for a car that doesn't really have anything, because the only thing I'm really losing money on was a cage. But at the same time, my 350Z, I'll see if I can find some pictures and put in the video, but it was the car I started drifting with, and learning with, and tandeming with, and I beat the fuck out of that car. Like, it got smashed up pretty good. Like, I totaled the side of it. Then I replaced the door. Then I replaced the door again. Then I replaced the door again. Then I got hit in the quarter panel. And then I got hit in the other quarter panel on the other side. And yeah, I mean, the thing was just like, it was beat. So, with that being said, this opportunity came up. And it is literally immaculate to the point where I don't even know if I want to drift it. I'm probably gonna keep my distance for a little bit, but it has that new factor still, and like, there's not a fucking scratch on it. So, yeah, I'm a little nervous to drift it, but I'm gonna. So, also, like a little rundown of what's going on now, even though I'm like on and off this whole thing. This is Kyle's car. This is a 03 G35 sedan, FDF kit, rack relocation, part shop max coilovers, caged, cooler work shifter. I mean, this dude did everything. Rear mounted fans, tire sprayers, the whole nine. It's actually getting an LS. He bought a 6.0 LQ9 LS, sent it off to the machine shop. Cylinder walls were all banged up. So it got a whole rebuild, pistons, rods, heads, cam. It's probably gonna make somewhere in the 500 to 550 wheel horsepower range. All of the parts are at the machine shop. This is like a little, I guess like a little bit of the parts all down here and stuff. But yeah, we're gonna go to the machine shop on Friday. They're gonna put the motor on the dyno, like an engine dyno, see what it makes like at the crank, and then we're gonna bring it back here, and then he goes on vacation, but then when he comes back, we're waiting on a flywheel from ISR because they're on back order. But once that comes in, I mean, this thing is gonna get up and going. He's got the Wiring Specialties harness, he's got his startup tune, like this thing's ready to go. It's also got a Bell Raceworks grip kit in the back. So that's this car. That thing's gonna be an absolute animal. If you guys remember, I had a 03 wagon Subaru back there, and I had a 04 sedan here. So what happened was, I ended up finishing the wrap on the 04 WRX, and then I traded it for this car, which is a 1990 Miata, obviously, a Miata. And it's boosted. I think it says the ISR turbo kit. Traded it for this, and then my buddy wanted to get into the drift world with us. So he had a 17 WRX that he had a bunch of bolt-ons and stuff on that was just sitting. So I was like, dude, why don't you trade me the 17 WRX for the Miata? And he was like, well, I can't do that. I mean, we're talking a $7,000 car versus a $15,000 car. And I was like, okay, well, I'll give you some money. So we worked out a deal, and I traded him this for the WRX. My girlfriend drives the WRX. And now he joined the shop. This is his car. Like I said, 1990 Miata. It's boosted, bucket seat, welded diff. That's about it for now. It does pretty good. I think it made like 230 wheel.
Looks good. He's gonna do some angle for this season and another seat, and then we're gonna swap the rear subframe out because I stripped one of the studs that come out where the diff bolts in. We fixed it for now, but so that's this car, and then of course I'm calling Alex out. That Audi's still sitting back there. For those who know, this is a B5 S4. For those who don't know, this is a B5 S4. It's been sitting here for probably 2 years. I sold it to Alex, and Alex decided to come here. He was all about it. He pulled the motor out. I have a built short block 270T right here, forged rods, new rings, bearings, everything. He's got KO4s. He has all the parts for the most part. He came here, pulled the motor out, took the brakes off, and it has never been touched again. But he also broke his hand, but it's good now, and he still hasn't come up here. So if I actually continue this YouTube thing, I'm going to bust his balls once a week to come finish it. It's not even in the way or anything. I want to see it run, you know? It ran when I got it really badly. It had blown turbos to the point where if you ran it for about 30 seconds, you couldn't see anything anymore. And I want to see it run, you know? But all right, that is enough of me talking. Let's get this radio fixed.
All right, here's where we're at. There was a cigarette lighter right there. I tapped into the power and ground, ran the wires through here, up to the radio, and if I cycle the key, we get power. Then if I turn it off, it goes off. So, that's where we're at now. And then I just have to connect all the speaker wires, install it all, and yeah, I mean, that's basically it. There were speaker wires like down in the footwell area, like down there. I don't know, I mean, it probably had some sort of like system in it before, but I'm just gonna wire in the speakers how they should be wired in and see how many I get. Hopefully I get at least like 3 or 4 of them because you need music when you're drifting, you know? You just need it. So, yeah, maybe I'll time lapse it. I'll time lapse me putting this all back together. Okay, so update. It's all back together, however, none of the speakers work. So I pulled this panel back out, and I found these tucked up underneath. They're like speaker wire. This one goes to the door, and this one goes to like probably like a tweeter up here. So I'm gonna take it back apart, and I'm gonna take the 4 speaker wires off the back of the radio, and I'm gonna connect them directly to these 2 sets and those 2 sets over there. And I hopefully should have sound after that. I think it might only be the front half because this thing definitely had like a whole subwoofer system in the back. But some sound is better than no sound. So I'm going to run that on a time lapse as well because I'm going to have to take the whole thing back apart. And then hopefully we get some sound.
Okay, so that was a nightmare. Normally when you buy a radio, you take the factory harness that plugs into the factory radio, and you get an adapter harness, you match the wire colors, plug it in, and you're done. So with this, I got the harness, I wired it all together, it didn't work. I noticed that someone cut the factory power wires out of the factory connector, so I went around the factory connector and hardwired it, it didn't work. So then I had to undo everything. Then I took the power and ground from the cigarette lighter because that switched 12 volts. Radio turns on. I was like, okay, cool. So then I wired in all the speaker wires. Then there was no sound. And then I was like, okay. So I did some digging, this and that, factory Bose surround system. Amps gone. Someone had an aftermarket system. There's aftermarket speaker wires coming out of the doors. There's aftermarket tweeters in the dash. And I was like, oh my God. So I ended up just splicing the tweeter and the door speakers on each side together, and then took speaker wire and ran it straight to the back of the radio. And now we're good. So it works. Yeah, that was a pain in the ass. I have a GK Tech diff brace that's gonna go on. And then I have, this is the FDF mini angle kit. So it comes with like these little bracket adapters that basically just relocate the tie rod where it hooks up to the knuckle. Gives you a little bit without having to do much. I do kind of want to autocross it too. I have a buddy at work that does autocross in an SI, and I went there with him one time. And it was awesome. I wouldn't say it was as much fun as drifting, but if I could make this car in a way where like I could do both, so like I want to try to like go to an event without welding the diff and see if that's like necessary, because if I don't have to, I'd rather not, because I also want to drive it on the street, and driving a welded diff on the street just doesn't work. But anyways, those things are gonna come, and then yeah, I mean, I guess I can just to double confirm it works, because I put it all back together. There we go.
Ice, the bird, shitting on all you little turds. Can't take that, wait your turn.
So that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. Like I said, Friday, going to pick up the LS for Kyle's car. There'll be a video on that. And then when he gets back from vacation, I'm gonna film the whole process of putting the LS swap in. It's all basically ISR stuff. So if anyone's looking to ISR swap kit their 350Z or G35, make sure to hit the subscribe button and check that out. There's gonna be more videos on the 370, probably in the next week or two. And then, yeah, Raf's gonna be doing some stuff to his Miata, and drift season's right around the corner. So thank you guys for watching the video. Peace out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.